Well, hello, my beautiful high frequency beings, and welcome to the Frequency Key podcast. I'm your host, Leela, and it is such a blessing to be here with you. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, welcome. I extend my warmest welcome to you. And if you're not new, welcome back. Love to have you. Thank you all for tuning in. It is truly such a joy for me to hop on the mic here and get to connect with you. It just brings me so much joy. So I just wanted to say thank you for being a part of this journey. On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about my journey, how I got here, where I come from, where I grew up, just a bit about my story, the highs and the lows, the positive and the negative. It's going to be a vulnerable episode, and I just hope that maybe you will resonate with some part of my story and be able to take away something from it and implement into your own life. So I'm going to give you a quick outline of where I grew up, my roots, and all that good stuff so you can kind of get the foundation. You're going to get the whole picture here. We're going to go deep. So, I was born in Brazil, in São Paulo, Brazil, and my mom is American and my dad's Brazilian, so I have dual citizenship. I am Brazilian and American, but I was born in São Paulo. And when I was 2 years old, we moved to Nassau, Bahamas. Because of my dad's job, we moved around a lot as kids. I have two siblings. One older brother, Lorenzo, shout out if you're listening to this, love you. And my younger brother is Santiago, shout out to you too, love my brothers. Anyway, we moved to Nassau and stayed there for 6 years and then moved to Switzerland, the French side of Switzerland near Geneva, in this very small town called Camp-Brasseligny. So French is actually my second language. English is my first language, and Portuguese is actually my third language. Although for a very long time, Portuguese was my strongest language, even stronger than my English. Anyway, it's just interesting how the brain works. We lived in Switzerland for 3 years. Absolutely loved it. I mean, I loved living everywhere. Of course, as a kid, we don't truly understand the beauty of where we're living until later on we look back and we're like, wow, that was such a privilege, like living in the Caribbean. What? So as you can imagine, I love the beach. I am happiest at the beach, but I also love the mountains, and I love skiing, and I love just nature in general. Don't ask me which place I like more, because that's like an impossible question. Anyway, in 2000 and when was it? 2011, I believe, 2012. Anyway, I'm not going to try and get the years right because my brain is not working for that right now. But we stayed in Switzerland for 3 years and then moved back to Brazil, where I then learned Portuguese in 6th grade and studied in Brazil and lived in Brazil for most of my life. I graduated from high school in COVID, so 2020 was my senior year of high school. That was an interesting one. But there was a lot that happened. Oh my goodness, there was so much. I'm trying to think here what would be the best way to structure this on the go. I'm going to finish giving you the outline and then I'll go back to certain points in time. So, graduated from high school and was working as an English teacher for my mom. My mom, shout out mom, love you, you're amazing. My parents got a divorce when I was 14, and my mom wanted to move back to the US, which makes a lot of sense because her support system is in the US. But my brothers and I loved Brazil so much we did not want to leave. We threw tantrums that we wanted to stay in Brazil. We never loved a place as much as Brazil just because our friends, the culture. We just felt so good there. It was a really good match for all of us. And we did not have a good time in the US. We spent 6 months in the US when transitioning from Switzerland to Brazil, and it was interesting. Although I did make a beautiful lifelong sister friend, Sadie. Sadie, shout out if you're listening to this. I'm giving all the shout outs today. I love you all. But we wanted to stay in Brazil, so my mom, being the badass that she is, opened a fucking business so that we could stay in Brazil. She's such a mama bear. Like, I admire that woman profusely. Anyway, I was working as an English teacher, and then I came to the US to visit my grandma and my family, and I came to Austin for the first time. And when I came to Austin, I was supposed to only visit for 2 weeks, but I ended up getting a job as an in-home nanny, and I stayed for 3 months. And those 3 months were just the most beautiful experience that I experienced far away from home. And at the same time, it felt like I was home, because this family that I nannied for became my family, and we are to this day family. Like, truly, I'm so grateful to have met them, and just the most wonderful human beings and children. I can't even describe how much love I feel for them. They're my family. I mean, yeah. I just feel so blessed. I have 2 families that I love. That's such a blessing, and I'm thankful for that every single day. So stayed for 3 months, and we got along so well that they were like, you should move here with us. You should, come study something, go to college, stay here with us, work for us. And of course, I was like, yes, I would love to, because it was such a beautiful match. And as much as I love Brazil, opportunity here in the US is so much greater. And so I went home for a few months and moved officially to Austin in April of 2022. Then I had a party phase. Don't we all? I partied like crazy every single weekend for a year, probably. And it was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I had so much fun, and I'm grateful for that phase of my life, but it's over, and I'm also very grateful that it's over. And in 2023, I got into real estate because the mom of the children that I was babysitting, Megan, shout out Megan, you are my hero. You're just such a badass warrior, amazing role model of a woman. I have so many strong female role models in my life. I just feel so blessed for that as well. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Megan said, you should get into real estate and we can work together and you'll be amazing at it. Like, she took me under her wing, and she saw the potential in me before I could see it in myself, and that makes a great mentor and leader. And it's just, the universe works in mysterious ways, and I just feel so deeply forever grateful that we connected in such a beautiful way, as well as family. And so I've been in real estate ever since, and it's been amazing. But in 2024, things started to shift a lot. As for real estate, I was working my ass off, and I just felt burnt out all the time, and I felt like it was normal to feel burnt out. I didn't know that there was another way, but I also met the love of my life in 2024, Darwin. Shout out, Darwin, if you're listening. I love you more than words can describe. I also stopped drinking alcohol. I don't like to have a strict rule on myself that says, like, I'm not trying to put myself in a box that I don't drink. If I want to drink, I will. I just do not have the desire to. So that's where I'm at. But since then, I've surely had, a glass of champagne or two. But stopped drinking alcohol. I started listening to a lot of podcasts because of Darwin's influence. So thank you, Darwin, again. I just became obsessed with personal development and listening to all these amazing high achievers that were doing so much with their lives. And I just knew, like, I wanted to be like that. And even before I knew I wanted to be like that, I just absolutely loved the idea of bettering myself. And I had like this craving for knowledge, and I just listened to podcasts endlessly. And I guess it's a good craving to have. I also went back to eating meat in 2024. Everyone can have their own choices. Of course, I'm not here to really touch on that subject, but what I will say is that I think there's a lot of false information out there, and the most important thing is just to listen to your body and see what your body needs, and everyone's body is different, right? But to definitely pay more attention to your body than what something on the internet is saying, I think is my hugest takeaway from that. Since then, I've felt amazing health-wise, but it was a year of a lot of burnout, 2024, and a lot of hustle. But I'm still super grateful for it because it was still an amazing year, regardless. And then 2025 has been the biggest transformation. And it makes sense, right? Being the year of the snake, we are shedding and letting go of old patterns and completely transforming into new versions of ourselves, versions that we cannot deny, that we cannot keep hidden in the dark for any longer. The truth is out. We are shedding our old skin and ready just to soak up all the new sun in our new vibrant identity, I feel. And I feel that so strong, especially now at the end of the year. And I'm very excited for the year of the fire horse ahead, 2026, where we charge forward and we take action and we are unstoppable, simply. So that was kind of a big overview of my story. I had a little bit of a cogitation. Is that even a word? Sometimes my brain in Portuguese is like cogitação. Is a cogitation a word? I don't even know. But I was contemplating in the middle there what kind of order I should tell you different things in. But I decided to finish the timeline, and now let's jump back because I wanted to talk about spiritual awakening and how this all unfolded for me. When I was in high school, 15, 16, and 17 years old, I went through a lot. I ended up going through a very intense depression. I would self-harm. I would think about ending my life every single day. I just truly believed that the world would be better without me, and I also felt so guilty for having all of those feelings because I knew that I was privileged. I had such a privileged life, yet in my mind I was just so sad. And I went through a lot with like toxic friendships and just a lot. I also went vegan around that time, so I feel like, I don't know if that influenced my situation, but I do know that we get a lot of nutrients from meat that maybe unconsciously I wasn't fully substituting, even though I did my very best. I don't think it was the only cause, but I also don't think it helped, you know? But I was gung-ho on the vegan thing. I never thought I would not be vegan again. So, anyway. I went through a very dark night of the soul. And I truly just believed that the world would be happier without me. I would get high off of weed every single day. I didn't like school. I didn't like my life. I would listen to this terrible music like Suicide Boys, and oh my goodness, it was such a phase. But I'm glad that it was a phase, and I know that I needed to go through it in order to be who I am today. And luckily, my mom one day saw my self-harming. She found it. And even though I tried to hide it, eventually that stuff, you can't hide it for long, luckily. And she got me into therapy. Her and my dad both got me into therapy, and I'm so grateful because I had the most amazing therapist, Bianca. I love Bianca so much. Bianca, shout out if you're listening to this. I love you, and you've changed my life forever. So I got into therapy, and that really helped me with my mind. And as soon as I feel like shortly after I stopped therapy, the pandemic started. And so I was a lot better. I still had some, it takes time for us to change, but that really, really helped me get a new perspective on my life. And she was just such a beautiful voice of reason and support for me during that time, which any good therapist should be, but I know it's hard. Like it took a while for me to find her. So if you're considering therapy, or if you want to do therapy, just make sure you really like your therapist. That's the main thing. And during the pandemic, like I mentioned, it was my senior year of high school. Still smoked a lot of weed, but I at least wasn't depressed anymore. And I actually started meditating in 2020. So I know there was a huge awakening during 2020. I was one of them. And I also have to give kudos to my dad. My dad he's been very spiritual for many, many years, and he has been planting the seeds for me throughout my life. But for the longest time, I just thought it was bull. And then in 2020, I learned how to meditate. I did Deepak Chopra's 30-day meditation, okay? And it was amazing. I loved it. There was journaling. I did all the journaling. I did all the meditation. And I just absolutely loved it. And I was like, okay, this is actually cool. And then I remember liking the journaling more because the meditations, it took me a while to actually learn how to meditate. I then got an app called Meditopia. This is not sponsored by Meditopia, but that app is so useful for learning how to meditate because it starts with like a 3-minute meditation and a 4-minute meditation, and then it goes up and up and up and up, and it teaches you all of these different tactics for you to learn how to meditate, and then you can use whatever you like the best, whatever works the best with you, in your own practice. So shout out to Meditopia. And I also want to shout out my sister, Sophia. She is just the most amazing human, and she still lives in Brazil. I miss you, girl, if you're listening to this. We've been friends for our whole lives because our fathers went to school together, and then when I lived in Brazil, we went to that same school that our fathers went to. And so we kind of grew up meeting each other every now and again because she lived in Brazil. I was living in other places. I didn't even speak Portuguese, but somehow we found a way to communicate with each other. And ever since I moved there, we just became inseparable. And she is my best friend till this day. So shout out, Sophia. I love you. And it was her really who got me into the meditations. She was like the friend that was interested in it, and then it's different coming from your friend than from your parent, right? And she learned how to read tarot first, and then I learned how to read tarot. And I think she started with yoga first, and then I became interested in yoga and did Boho Beautiful's 14-day meditation and yoga challenge at the beginning of 2021, and I just fell in love. So anyway, I'm so grateful to her for having opened that door for me. Several doors. And then from there, it just blossomed more and more. Of course, during my party phase, I did not have as much as a spiritual side, although I would still wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and hit the gym. I was very disciplined in that sense. But I didn't meditate as often as I did when I was living in Brazil. And then it's been slowly, like, you know how it's hard to stay on one path. Sometimes we will kind of go off our path a little bit and then come back. And I feel like spirituality for me has been that. And that's what's beautiful about it as well. It's not like religion in that you need to follow a strict set of rules. It is whatever you want it to be. It is whatever feels good to you. And so, yeah, there were phases where I didn't meditate so much. I'm actually in a phase now where I'm getting back into meditating more. It's just so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and not make time for ourselves. But I do encourage you to take a morning for yourself. Take the mornings for yourself every single day. There's nothing better than that to set your day on the right note. And yeah, I believe that is pretty much everything that I wanted to share. I definitely feel like this year I've had maybe the biggest spiritual awakening, I guess you can say, because I feel like with spirituality, it's kind of like, and of course this means something different for everyone, but for me it's like connecting with myself and trusting in a higher power that I am not doing all of this alone, that I am in co-creation with the universe or with God or with spirit or with source or with the field or with Buddha or, you know, whatever you want to call it. That higher power is creating with us. Like, we don't have to do it all on our own. And the way that we can be in flow and in co-creation with this higher power is by following our dreams and doing what we love and honoring our passions and listening to our heart and to our intuition and to our bodies and not letting just the rational mind take charge. It's like, whoa, we definitely need you, rational mind, but let's not forget who is the true leader here. And so everyone can live, of course, in a way that feels best to them, but to me, this is the truth that speaks most truly to me, is like, I can be abundant, not only financially, but in all these other ways of my life. Like, I don't need to hustle from scarcity or from lack. Like, I truly can lean into my gifts and into my passions and create a beautiful, abundant life for myself. Like, that has never been so clear to me than this moment. And so I'm very, very excited for 2026, because once the ball finally drops and once you really understand, like, whoa, yes, I fully believe this now. It's not like the ego will sometimes come back and be like, no, blah, 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 let me keep you safe. But once you have that knowing, we can regulate the ego mind, the monkey mind, the chatter, and be like, no, thank you for your concern, but I actually know what I'm doing. And anyway, I just feel so happy in this position that I am right now, having this perception and this perspective on life, because it has been flowing so much more effortlessly in that way. So I'm just excited to see where we go in 2026. And I guess with all of this, I will end with your path is unique to you. And just trust in your path. Trust in yourself. And you can do anything you put your mind to and your energy behind. It is a co-creation, right? We have to believe and work for it. We're multidimensional beings. We're not just our consciousness. We are in this 3D world in a physical body. So it's really honoring all of the different parts of us, all of the different nuances and things that make us human, while also knowing, okay, I'm not here alone, and I know what I need to do, and I know that that higher power has got my back. So just trust in your path. Remember to listen to your body. Listen to what feels good to you, what resonates true to you, because sometimes no matter what the internet says, you're going to know what is true to you. And I encourage you to always listen to that and not to compare yourself with anybody else, because there is no competition. You are in your own lane. You are truly on your own path. There's no, like, the only competition that you're in is with yourself. There's nobody else that you are racing against. There is enough for everyone. And nobody has your unique perspective. You are completely unique to you, and you have something beautiful to offer this world. So lean into your gifts and remember that you are not behind. Again, you're in your own lane, creating your own beautiful path, and you've got this. I believe in you. And whenever you need a little bit of reassurance, remember that you have so much inside of you. There's a peace and a stillness that you can always come back to. And of course, getting to reach out to friends is also equally beautiful and beneficial, to be able to bounce ideas off of and ask for advice. But just know that you're not alone. And even when you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. You've got this. All right. Well, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you're able to take away something from this, and that maybe it helps to inspire you in some shape or form, or just for you to know that, like, if you are going through a rough time, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way out. Take it from someone who used to be all, fuck life and I want to die, to today being the most optimistic person you might ever meet. Seeing the cup half full always. So change is possible, and it is possible for you. It is available to you whenever you want it. All you got to do is put your mind to it and your loving energy behind it. And I truly believe that you can do whatever it is. You can accomplish whatever it is that you dream of. All right. I will see you on the next episode of The Frequency Key. Bye, guys.